If you're a veteran or a senior watching this right now, you might be feeling frustrated, maybe even angry. You've been watching your Social Security benefits get smaller and smaller while everything else gets more expensive. Your grocery bills are higher, your prescription drugs cost more, and it feels like Washington just doesn't care about the people who built this country. But today, I've got news that might give you some hope. There's a new proposal making waves in Congress that could change everything for millions of veterans and seniors. And honestly, it's about time. This isn't just another empty promise from politicians. This could be real money in your pocket, real relief when you need it most. And if you're wondering whether this affects you, stick around because I'm going to break down exactly who qualifies and how much extra money we're talking about. The implications of this proposal could ripple through communities across America, affecting not just individual families, but entire local economies that depend on the spending power of our veterans and seniors. But before we dive in, I want you to think about these questions. First, did you know that many veterans are getting shortchanged when it comes to Social Security benefits, even though they served our country? Second, what if I told you there's a way to fix a decades-old problem that's been keeping money out of veterans' pockets? And third, how would an extra few $100s a month change your life right now? These aren't just hypothetical questions, folks. The answers could mean real financial relief for millions of Americans who have been struggling to make ends meet in today's economy. Here's what's happening right now in Washington. Representative Garrett Graves from Louisiana has introduced something called the You Earned It, You Keep It Act. Now, I know what you're thinking, another fancy name for another bill that goes nowhere. But this one is different. This bill has bipartisan support. That means Republicans and Democrats are actually agreeing on something for once. And what they're agreeing on is this: veterans and seniors deserve better when it comes to Social Security. My reaction? It's about time someone in Congress remembered who actually built this country and who sacrificed to keep it safe. So let me break this down in plain English, because the government sure won't. Right now, there's something called the Government Pension Offset and the Windfall Elimination Provision. These are fancy terms for rules that basically steal money from veterans and other public servants when they try to collect Social Security. Here's how it works. Let's say you're a veteran named John. You served in the military for 20 years, then worked as a postal worker for another 20 years. You paid into Social Security during your civilian job, just like everyone else. But when you retire, the government says, well, since you get a military pension, we're going to reduce your Social Security benefits. That's not fair, is it? You earned both. You paid into both. You should get both. Let me give you some real numbers. Under the current rules, a veteran who should get $1,200 a month in Social Security might only get $800. That's $400 less every single month. Over a year, that's $4,800 stolen from someone who served our country. For a veteran's spouse, it's even worse. Let's say John's wife Sarah never worked outside the home. She should be entitled to spousal benefits from John's Social Security. But because of these unfair rules, she might get nothing, $0. Now here's where the new proposal comes in. The You Earned It, You Keep It Act would eliminate these penalties completely. That means John would get his full $1,200 a month. Sarah would get her spousal benefits. They'd have the money they actually earned. I spoke with a viewer last month, let's call her Margaret, who's been dealing with this exact situation. She's a retired teacher and her husband is a veteran. Between the two penalties, they're losing almost $600 a month in Social Security benefits. That's $7,200 a year. Margaret told me that money would mean the difference between choosing between groceries and prescription drugs. That's not a choice anyone should have to make in America. Margaret's story isn't unique. Across the country, there are roughly 2.8 million Americans who are affected by these unfair penalties. That includes about 700,000 veterans and their families. We're talking about firefighters, police officers, teachers, postal workers, and countless others who dedicated their careers to public service. These are the people who kept our communities safe, educated our children, and served our nation with honor. Let me say this again because it's important. This proposal would eliminate two unfair rules that reduce Social Security benefits for veterans and other public servants. If you served in the military and worked other jobs where you paid Social Security taxes, you would get your full benefits, no reductions, no penalties. You earned it, you keep it. The same goes for spouses and survivors. If you're married to someone affected by these rules, or if you're the survivor of someone who is affected, you'd get the full benefits you're entitled to. This isn't charity. This isn't a handout. This is giving people the money they already earned and paid for. The math is simple, but the impact is enormous. For many veterans, we're talking about receiving an additional $300 to $500 per month. For some, it could be even more. Think about what that means for a fixed-income household. That's enough to cover a month's worth of groceries for many families. It's enough to pay for prescription medications that keep people healthy. It's enough to help with heating bills during cold winters or cooling costs during hot summers. For many seniors, this isn't luxury money. This is survival money. Now, let's talk about why this matters in the bigger picture. We're living through the worst inflation in decades. Everything costs more. Gas prices are high. Food prices are through the roof. Housing costs are crushing families. At the same time, Social Security is facing long-term funding challenges. The trust fund could be depleted by 2034 if Congress doesn't act. Medicare is under pressure too. Our national debt keeps growing. But here's the thing, this isn't about spending more money. This is about fairness. These veterans and public servants already paid into Social Security. The money is already there. These penalties were created back when the system was different, and they don't make sense today. Think about it this way. We're asking people who dedicated their lives to serving our country, whether in the military, as teachers, as firefighters, as postal workers, to subsidize the Social Security system by taking reduced benefits. That's backwards. And let's be honest about something else. Veterans and seniors vote. They're engaged. They remember when politicians make promises and when they break them. This isn't just good policy, it's smart politics. The economic impact would be significant too. We're talking about putting billions of dollars into the pockets of people who will spend it immediately. That money goes right back into the economy. It helps local businesses. It creates jobs. When a veteran gets an extra $400 a month, where does that money go? It goes to the grocery store, the pharmacy, the local restaurant. It doesn't get stuffed under a mattress or hidden in some offshore account. This is what economists call a multiplier effect. Every dollar that goes to a veteran or senior gets spent multiple times as it moves through the local economy. Consider the ripple effects in small towns across America. When veterans and seniors have more spending power, local businesses thrive. The corner grocery store sees more customers. The local diner gets busier. The pharmacy doesn't have to worry about customers who can't afford their medications. Auto repair shops benefit when seniors can afford to maintain their vehicles properly. This isn't just about individual families, it's about the health of entire communities. The proposal also addresses a fundamental issue of trust between the government and the people who served it. When veterans see their benefits reduced after they've fulfilled their service obligations, it sends a message that their sacrifice isn't valued. When teachers who spent decades educating our children face financial hardship because of confusing government rules, it discourages others from entering public service. This bill would help restore faith in the social contract between Americans and their government. There's also a generational justice aspect to consider. Many of the people affected by these penalties are from the greatest generation and the silent generation. These are Americans who lived through World War II, the Korean War, the Cold War, and the early stages of the Vietnam War. They built the modern American economy. They paid into Social Security for decades with the promise that it would be there for them in retirement. Breaking that promise isn't just unfair, it's a betrayal of our most fundamental social obligations. So here's what I want to know from you. Are you affected by these Social Security penalties? Have you been losing money because of the government pension offset or the windfall elimination provision? Leave a comment below and tell me your story. How much money are we talking about? How would eliminating these penalties change your life? And if you know someone who might be affected, a veteran, a teacher, a police officer, a firefighter, share this video with them. They need to know about this proposal. Knowledge is power, and in this case, it could be the power to reclaim thousands of dollars in benefits. The political reality is that this bill faces challenges ahead. While it has bipartisan support, that doesn't guarantee passage. Congressional committees will need to review it. Budget scorekeepers will need to analyze its costs. Political priorities can shift quickly in Washington. But the momentum is building, and that's encouraging. More lawmakers are recognizing that these penalties are fundamentally unfair and economically counterproductive. Here's the bottom line, folks. This proposal represents real hope for millions of Americans who have been getting a raw deal for decades. Veterans who served our country shouldn't be penalized when they try to collect the Social Security benefits they earned. Seniors who dedicated their lives to public service shouldn't have to choose between paying for groceries and paying for medicine. The You Earned It, You Keep It Act isn't perfect, and it's not guaranteed to pass, but it's a start. It's recognition that the current system is unfair and needs to change. Now, I want to be clear about something. This is still just a proposal. It needs to go through committee hearings. It needs to be voted on in both the House and the Senate. It needs to be signed by the President. That process could take months or even years. But the fact that it has bipartisan support is encouraging. The fact that lawmakers from both parties are willing to stand up for veterans and seniors gives me hope. My advice? Stay informed. Contact your representatives. Let them know you support this proposal. Make your voice heard. And remember, this isn't just about the money, although the money is important. This is about respect. It's about honoring the people who built this country and served this country. You earned it. You should keep it. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates. I'll be following this story closely and letting you know what happens next. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any breaking news about Social Security, Medicare, and other issues that matter to you. Until next time, stay informed and stay engaged. Your future depends on it.